As we advance in life, the experiences we've gathered often bring with them a deepened understanding of human nature. We learn to value caution, respect, and the quiet observation of the world around us. Yet, even with this well-earned wisdom, life retains its unpredictability, and danger can manifest in ways we do not expect. One of the greatest truths to keep in mind is this: the real threat may not always come from the loud or obvious figures in our midst, but from those who walk among us unnoticed, harboring hidden motives. In this discussion, we will explore 7 types of dangerous individuals you may encounter at any stage of life, but especially as older adults, when vulnerability is often perceived by others and when caution becomes even more crucial. These profiles may appear familiar, but the nuances within each will reveal surprising insights. As we explore these categories, let us not forget that while danger can be subtle, so too can be the defenses we employ through awareness, wisdom, and preparedness. 1. The person who has nothing to lose. Among the most perilous individuals you could ever encounter is the one who has nothing left to lose. When life strips away everything from a person, whether it be family, career, dignity, or hope, they often reach a point where the normal rules of society no longer hold sway over them. Conventional deterrents, such as the fear of punishment, the loss of reputation, or even personal injury, may no longer apply. It is this absence of restraint that makes such a person profoundly dangerous. Imagine someone who has faced so much adversity, losing a spouse, being betrayed by loved ones, or even enduring financial ruin, that they no longer feel bound by the consequences of their actions. Such an individual may act out of sheer desperation, driven not by logic or strategy, but by an emotional freefall into chaos. Their mindset becomes, what do I have left to protect? For older adults, this can be particularly worrisome because the outward signs of this type of danger are often not immediately visible. You may find yourself engaging with someone in a social setting, or even through a casual conversation at a park, only to discover that they are operating from a place of profound inner emptiness. They may not have the typical markers of anger or hostility, but rather an unnerving calmness, reflecting their lack of concern for their future. When we encounter such individuals, the most important lesson is to remain respectful, not out of fear, but out of an understanding that we cannot fully comprehend their emotional landscape. Kindness, caution, and maintaining a safe emotional distance can often diffuse potentially dangerous situations. Remember that the person who has nothing left to lose is not motivated by rational outcomes, and as such, avoiding direct confrontation is often the wisest course of action. 2. The experienced violent individual. Violence is something that most of us strive to avoid. We've lived long enough to know that confrontation rarely leads to a desirable outcome, and physical conflict should always be the last resort. However, there are people in this world for whom violence is not only familiar, but it is a skill they've honed over years, whether through formal training or life experience. These experienced violent individuals present a unique and formidable danger. What makes these individuals particularly threatening is not merely their physical prowess, but their psychological comfort with conflict. Unlike the average person who may hesitate or seek resolution through dialogue, the experienced violent person has a calm demeanor in the face of aggression. They are accustomed to situations that escalate, and their past experiences, whether in combat, law enforcement, or the streets, have conditioned them to respond swiftly and efficiently. This calm under pressure is what sets them apart. Imagine for a moment an individual who has seen combat or has been involved in countless altercations. Their movements are precise, their reactions finely tuned, and they are unflinching in the face of adversity. To someone untrained or inexperienced, these traits may go unnoticed until it's too late. It is not always the loudest voice in the room that signals danger, but rather the quiet, composed individual who carries with them the weight of experience. As older adults, we may not be as physically strong as we once were, but our strength lies in our ability to assess and avoid conflict. If we find ourselves in a tense situation, the best strategy is to de escalate, to remove ourselves from the environment before violence has a chance to erupt. Physical confrontation at our age is rarely a winning strategy, and recognizing the subtle cues of a seasoned fighter can be life saving. Trust your instincts, and if something feels off, don't hesitate to step away. 3. The unsuspecting predator. Perhaps the most chilling of all is the unsuspecting predator. Those individuals who on the surface appear harmless, friendly, or even charming. This type of person is often the antithesis of the stereotypical bad guy we see in movies. Instead, they blend seamlessly into everyday life, hiding their malicious intent behind a veil of normalcy. In many cases, they are highly skilled at creating a false sense of security in those around them, making their eventual betrayal all the more devastating. These predators can be particularly dangerous for older adults, as we are often seen as more trusting or vulnerable due to our desire for companionship or assistance. For example, they might offer help with tasks, engage in seemingly innocent conversation, or present themselves as a source of support. All the while, they are calculating how best to exploit that trust. The most unsettling aspect of an unsuspecting predator is their patience. They do not act impulsively, but rather plan their moves with great care. They may observe you over time, learning your routines, vulnerabilities, and emotional triggers. Their attacks, whether physical, financial, or emotional, are often devastating precisely because they catch you completely off guard. For those of us who have spent a lifetime building connections and trusting in the good nature of others, it can be hard to imagine that someone might be intentionally deceiving us. However, the key to protecting ourselves from such individuals is to maintain a healthy skepticism. Trust must be earned, not given freely, and it's crucial to listen to your instincts. If something feels off about a person, don't hesitate to distance yourself, even if they seem outwardly kind. 4. The opportunist. While some people are driven by malice or experience, others are driven by pure opportunism. Opportunists may not be inherently violent or evil, but they are incredibly dangerous due to their ability to exploit vulnerable situations. They are not motivated by a desire to harm, but rather by a ruthless pursuit of personal gain at any cost. For example, imagine being in a situation where you are confused or distracted, perhaps while handling finances or making important decisions about healthcare. An opportunist will seize this moment to take advantage, whether by pressuring you into a decision, exploiting your confusion, or manipulating the circumstances for their benefit. Their actions may not appear outwardly aggressive, but the consequences of their exploitation can be long lasting and devastating. As older adults, we may find ourselves in situations where we rely on others for help, whether due to physical limitations or the complexities of modern life. While it is natural to seek assistance, it's important to remain aware that not everyone has our best interests at heart. Opportunists thrive on moments of weakness, and they often target those they perceive as less likely to push back. The best way to protect yourself from opportunists is to be mindful and proactive. Don't hesitate to ask for a second opinion before making major decisions, and never rush into agreements or commitments. Additionally, maintain control over your personal and financial affairs and ensure that trusted individuals are involved in important decisions when necessary. By staying vigilant, you can avoid becoming an easy target for those who seek to benefit from your vulnerability. 5. The manipulator. Danger in life doesn't always come from physical violence. Sometimes it manifests through the subtle art of manipulation. A manipulative person is someone who seeks to control others not through force, but through emotional and psychological pressure. These individuals are particularly adept at exploiting emotional vulnerabilities, whether it be guilt, affection, or loneliness. The manipulator is a master of subtlety. They might make you feel as though you owe them something Or they may create situations where you feel obligated to help them, even to your own detriment. They may employ emotional blackmail using phrases like, if you cared about me, you would do this for me, or after all I've done for you, how could you say no? For older adults, this can be particularly dangerous, as manipulators often target those who are isolated or who crave connection. They know how to make you feel needed and valued, but the relationship is always one sided. In the end, the manipulator's goal is to control you for their own benefit, and they are willing to sacrifice your well being to achieve that. To defend against manipulators, it's essential to set boundaries and recognize when someone is using emotional tactics to influence your decisions. It's important to trust yourself and your judgment. If something feels wrong, it likely is. Relationships, whether familial or social, should be built on mutual respect and consideration, not on manipulation or control. 6. The isolated avenger. Life sometimes leads certain individuals down a path of bitterness and isolation. The isolated avenger is someone who feels profoundly wronged by society, friends, or family, and believes it is their personal mission to seek revenge. Their sense of injustice drives them to dangerous extremes, and because they have often cut themselves off from social support, their worldview becomes increasingly skewed and irrational. What makes this type of person so dangerous is their single minded focus on retribution. They may obsess over perceived slights or betrayals for years, slowly building up anger until it erupts into an act of vengeance. For them, justice is personal and disproportionate, making it impossible to predict when or how they might strike. As older adults, we may encounter isolated avengers in many forms. It could be a distant relative, an old acquaintance, or even someone from your past who harbors unresolved grudges. The danger here lies in their unpredictability and the lengths they are willing to go to in order to right what they perceive as wrongs. If you sense that someone in your life is consumed by bitterness or fixated on past grievances, it is often best to distance yourself. While it may be tempting to try and help them, the reality is that their need for revenge can overpower reason, making them a ticking time bomb. Your safety and peace of mind should always come first. 7. The desperate caretaker. The final category of dangerous individuals may not be what you expect: the desperate caretaker. Caregiving is one of the most demanding roles anyone can take on, requiring patience, compassion, and emotional resilience. However, when a caregiver becomes overwhelmed, frustrated, or unsupported, they can turn into a source of danger, especially for those they are supposed to protect. The desperation of a caretaker can manifest in various ways, from neglect to outright abuse. In some cases, the caretaker may not intend to cause harm, but may become so emotionally and physically drained that they lose the ability to provide proper care. This danger is especially pronounced in situations where the caretaker is isolated, underpaid, or has taken on more responsibility than they can handle. For older adults who rely on caregivers, it is vital to maintain open communication with family members, friends, or medical professionals who can monitor the quality of care you are receiving. If you ever feel uncomfortable, neglected, or mistreated, don't hesitate to speak up. Your well-being should never be compromised by the burnout or frustration of those responsible for your care. Final thoughts. As we move through life, the lessons we learn from experience help us navigate the world with wisdom and caution. Danger, however, is often hidden in the subtleties of human behavior. The people we encounter may not always appear dangerous at first glance, but by staying vigilant, trusting our instincts, and maintaining firm boundaries, we can protect ourselves from those who wish to exploit or harm us. Remember, life is about balance. Respect others, but always protect yourself. By embracing the wisdom you have gained over the years, you can continue to live a fulfilling, secure, and empowered life. Thank you for watching the entire video. If you find these stories inspiring and motivating, please comment 1. If not, comment 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time.